All right, another day, another grind. It's Tuesday, February 20th, 10:14. Let's see if I can get a better time today. Yeah, keep you posted. All right, it's 10:32, and I thought I'd share some, or at least a deep thought. So for the most part, I love being here. I've been back a month and spent 2 years here prior in total, broken up. But yeah, for the most part, I love it. It has, you have to take the good with the bad. There are bad things about being here, but the good far outweighs it. But I thought I'd share one of the things that kind of broke my heart a little bit this week. Me and my daughter were out just doing some walking. I think it was Sunday night. Just level land, we're downtown, just to get a little bit of exercise in. And we passed this girl, a homeless girl. She had her hand out. And I did a quick scan, and her feet looked like they never had shoes. They were just black on bottom. Her nails were black. Her hair was matted. She was very tan. Obviously been in the sun constantly, She had a hard life. And I reached in my pocket and I gave her enough money to go eat whatever she wanted. And I kept walking because in that moment, you're not ready for that. And you don't know what to do because you're limited in what you can do. Legally, you can't do anything. Mein guten Tag. So I kept walking, and Ushi and I finished our walk and went home. But it tugged at me all night long, right? And the next day, Ushi and I went out looking for her. I wanted to try to find her and see if there was more I could do for her. Buy her shoes at least. Buy her some clothes. Ask her, maybe take her somewhere to like a really good meal. Ask her what I could give her. But I'm not sure how useful that would be, right? How useful is it for a homeless person to have a new outfit and new shoes? What's one meal? What I really wanted to do is adopt her. I don't know the process for legally adopting someone, or even if you could just grab a child off the street and somehow legally adopt them. But man, I wish I could adopt 10 or 20. Yeah, so that's the downside, is that you see that every day and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. At least I'm not in a position yet. But I'd love to be in a position to adopt some of these girls and boys, right? But the girls kind of break my heart more because a girl's meant to be protected. They're meant to be a princess. A boy is meant to grow strong and to be a provider and a protector. I'm not saying it didn't break my heart when I see a homeless boy, but there's no way to justify that. You can see it's making them stronger for the role they have to take on. But a girl shouldn't have to fend for herself. At least I don't think so. And to see a homeless girl on the street, that just breaks your heart. To see at 8, 9, 10, and you see them at all ages. It's not that prevalent in Dumaguete and Negros. You see it way more in Manila and in Cebu. But if you see it once, you see it too much. So what are your thoughts? For those of you living outside the Philippines who have never been here, and separately for those of you who do live here, what are your thoughts on that? All right. Catch up in a little bit. So this is a beautiful house. And it's huge. It's got it's a compound. There's houses back there in the background. Multiple garages. And you go on up and there's another house up here. And then there's another structure that's all kind of all glassed in. If you tried to build this in the US, it'd be millions. And I can assure you it wasn't millions of US dollars here. You're looking over a ravine on the back side of that. You can't see very well. All right. Well, made it a little shy of the top today. I was almost at the top, one more corner to go. And Chin messaged me that we have to take Ushi lunch. I forgot. We didn't pack her lunch this morning because we were unable to get it last night for reasons. So we made up our mind that we would just take it to her before lunch. So Chin texted me and she's like, "Where are you?" So I have no choice. I have to turn around, but oh well, I'd say 90%, 95%. All right, thought I'd share a second deep thought on my way down the mountain. And let's wait for this car to pass. This is about the nickname that Doomageddon has gotten of Dramageddon. And I think it's interesting that a lot of this comes from the expat community, right? Like a lot of this drama is drama that would otherwise be swept under the rug, but these expats bring to the foreground. And the most recent drama is a fist fight at this restaurant called Ground Zero. And I watch a lot of these channels. But one of the channels, the guy made a video saying, "Hey, I got in a fight." And the interesting part is, from what I understand, and everyone that said they've seen the video, this guy started the physical altercation. And that, to me, as a martial artist, and I'm weighing in as a martial artist, not knowing these people, but if you're the one that resorted to physical violence, you need to go back to the drawing board, right? Like there's just never an excuse for physical violence. If you were a president, you'd be the one pushing the button for war. I think you failed if you turn to physical violence. I don't care what kind of argument you're having. We should all have freedom of speech, and if someone's lying, it doesn't give you the right to punch them in the face. Because if that happens, well, you're not always going to be the apex predator, right? You have to accept that from 18 and 20-year-old thugs who don't like your opinion now. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. It's never okay to turn to physical violence, and I wouldn't brag about it. I think I'd certainly never want to be boastful, but if I did have to get into a fight, I'd want it to be because I had to defend myself. And not because I chose physical violence. All right, hopefully I don't bust my butt walking down this hill because it rained and it is slick. And this is the steep part, one of the steepest parts. And I've already lost my footing a few times. Thought I'd share one more, some really good advice I heard. And again, these are completely random thoughts, which is basically how my brain works. I watched a video. I don't think that wasn't the focus of the video. They mentioned it. I can't remember who it was now. But he said he went out and rented a bunch of scooters. It might have been Regular Guy. He went out and rented a bunch of scooters before buying the scooter that he was going to buy to see which one he liked the most. Now, I never thought about that because I thought, well, I'm gonna select the best qualities that I want, right? I'm gonna get one with the horsepower I want, one with the looks that I want. But there's certain things that you cannot pick out of a list. My ADV 160, which is, it looks gorgeous for a bike. and it has all the features you'd want out of a bike. But honestly, it's not comfortable. My butt hurts sitting on it. And since then, I've sat on other scooters and I don't have that problem. For example, an NMAX, the seats are different. And if I were going to go back and do it, what I would do is I would rent every scooter and I would see which one is the most comfortable. Because honestly, power is really not an issue for me at my age, right? Like I'm not going to race anyone. Honestly, my favorite scooter to ride is my wife's Beat. I don't even know what size it is. I don't know if it's a 110, 115, 125. I don't know. It's a Beat FI. But it's a small scooter. But it's super nimble, and for whatever reason, my butt is super comfortable on it as compared to my ADV. If I sit on my ADV for 10 minutes, my tailbone hurts. But I can sit on that Beat the majority of the day, and it's not an issue. So I think that's probably the most important thing about the bike that you purchase, right? Whether it's a motorcycle or a scooter. And if I could go back, I would even consider a motorcycle. I haven't ridden motorcycles a long time, and back when I was riding them last, I was riding them, trail riding. So I'm not sure how comfortable they are commuting in the city, but I didn't consider one because I looked at it like realistically, I'm not going to be doing any trail riding. They have some enduros, but now that I've been here for a while and reevaluated, some of these roads are super rough. And I feel like I'm beating up my scooter. I feel like I'm shaking the wheels off of it and the nuts loose and the bolts loose. Whereas if I had bought an enduro or a motorcycle, a dirt bike, it's designed for that. It was built with that in mind. And maybe that seat would be more comfortable as I'm sitting up higher and it's a different way of straddling. So something to keep in mind. If you're gonna buy a scooter, consider renting all the ones you're thinking about to see Maingbuntag, to see which one is most comfortable, because they're cheap to rent. You can rent them for 400 pesos a day. Sometimes you even see 350, and you can find just about every make and model of scooter you'd consider. So that's my third deep thought for today. All right, so I thought I'd share with you something I think about every time I pass this stream. If you've ever looked at any land in Dumaguete or Valencia, and I assume, I don't know, maybe the whole island. I haven't really been outside of Valencia and Dumaguete, aside of Bacong and Sibulan. But what you'll find is that there's stones and boulders everywhere. If you bought a piece of land and you tried to smooth it out, you'd find huge boulders in the ground, on the ground, unless it's been cleaned off by someone. This whole land was just pelted with huge boulders. And it's something some people may have never thought about. Like, boulders don't grow like potatoes, right? They don't rise up. At some point in time, there was an event where this island was just rained on by boulders. Some of these things are huge. They're bigger than cars, and I'm sure there's bigger than that. But just ponder that. Think about what it must have been like in that time when these boulders were raining down. That's my final thought for today.